Hello, I'm Kevin Seja and I'm back with more fly tying. Today I want to talk about using biots, especially goose biots. Some folks find that a challenge because they're short, stiff, and could be difficult to work with. But I figured out a few things and I'd like to share them in this video. Wrapping biots one way can produce a smooth, segmented body, while simply flipping it over leaves a feathery edge, which may be better for some nymph patterns. The fly that I am tying today is for demonstration purposes. It will catch fish, but it is not necessarily something you will find in a pattern book. So here you see me using a crisscross method to tie the tip in and a couple of wraps to pull the tip smooth and then make a nice level body with thread wraps. One note here is that the thread was parked just in front of the tail and the first wrap, cross wrap, was from back to front. Biots are best wrapped over a level body, over a thin coat of super glue or head cement, or you may choose to use head cement or resin, UV resin, to coat the biot after it's been wrapped. So here I flipped it both ways. I think we'll demonstrate the smooth segmented version of the biot, which is probably more appropriate on a dry fly, but I'm going to tie a nymph pattern just for the sake of getting this done. So I'll park the thread up front, do a couple of whips, and use the rotary feature of my fly tying vise. So in here I'll be using this is Sally Hansen hardest nails, so some head cement underneath just to make it a little bit tacky. These goose biots are very durable. And to be honest, they weren't my favorite thing to use for the longest time, but my son-in-law shot a goose this year, and I harvested all the primary feathers. And uh, after fiddling with these biots a little bit, I discovered they make a very nice segmented body, and they seem very durable. They're thick and stiff, and I've hit them on the hook point, and they don't nick easily. And I think with the head cement underneath, and I use super glue on some, I think they make some great bodies on some good fly patterns. So here we're wrapping, just grabbing it by the end, rotating around, moving forward. And I think we're coming to another place where I can give a little tip here. So if I just drop the thread behind the last wrap of that goose bite, you can see it kind of double up right there and pull it tight. Um, that makes sure that everything's secure and fastened down. And here you'll see that I tried to snip off the excess. Didn't quite go in one shot as I'd planned, but I wrapped forward with the thread, tie that little piece down, and then learned that I didn't quite get all the biot with the snippers when I reached in there. So we'll take care of that right now. So again, this is the smooth version, smooth and segmented. Looks nice, probably more appropriate for a dry fly, but like I said, just to be efficient about this and get a video out there, um, I'm going to make a nymph. So here's another thing I learned, and I kind of prefer. I like nymphs with legs, and those that folks that favor the natural materials, um, maybe not fans of lively legs or something else, some rubber legs. Um, this is kind of a good way to do this, but the little trick that I learned here is to tie these are pheasant tail fibers, and to tie them in right behind the eye, already at the length where I want them to finish. And then I work my way back with the remaining fibers. I'm going to use those to make the wing case. So make sure I go back far enough, smooth them out as I go so I get a nice even layer of fibers, pheasant tail fibers for the wing case. So here I'm just using a little bit of rabbit dubbing, and I kind of chose a lighter color. I've done these in all over dark colors, and I don't know, every once in a while I start to think about the fish sees a lot of these nymphs kind of rolling through the water, and that lighter color of the underbody has to catch their eye. So maybe making this a lighter color gives them something to see. But I start in the front. Make sure you leave plenty of room here. Maybe almost an eye length when you come back before you start dubbing. And I'll show you why in just a second, or you'll see why in just a second. So if I park the thread just in front of where that thorax ended and use my thumbnail or thumb to split the fibers, I can trap some on each side. And use a wrap or two of thread, again wrapping right there in front of the thorax with plenty of room for a head yet. And that'll trap those legs back at a nice angle. Then when I pull the remaining pheasant tails fibers forward, I can use a wrap pretty much in the same location to kind of hold them in place. And then if you snip off, you don't crowd the eye. You have plenty of room to start at the front, work your way back up over the butt ends of those pheasant tail fibers. Make the head a nice shape here with a few extra wraps. And stop back with just enough room to wrap back to front. Now you'll see here that I do two sets of whips. So I do work from front to back first in this case, and then finish coming back toward the eye. And making those final wraps toward the eye, they wrap over, the thread tightly and pull tight in that smaller diameter, fill that little notch, and make for a solid whip finish. So next we'll add another drop of Sally Hansen's on the wing case and drag a little bit up over the thread wraps. So the take-home points today are to bend the biot over the hook to see which edge is which, to tie the tip of the biot in just in front of the tail with crisscross wraps, and to leave yourself enough room to push the pheasant tail fibers back to make more realistic looking legs. So I hope this helps you out. Thanks for hanging in there. And if you want to learn more about me, look me up on Amazon or watch my other videos.